Hi, and welcome to Simply Happy Conversations. I'm Narelle King, and in today's episode, I'm being interviewed by Rachel from Kiddiepedia, a parenting website full of resources and advice. We are chatting about how mindfulness can reduce stress and support your immune system, ideas to create moments of mindfulness into your life, and the benefits of regularly practicing yin and nidra yoga. If you're wanting parenting advice, head over to their website kiddiepedia.com.au or their podcast Kiddiepedia. Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations. I'm Narelle King, wellness and organisational coach and yin and nidra yoga instructor. This podcast will help you create more time using organisational strategies so that you can start to simplify your life and prioritise your health. I'll be sharing conversations with other health and organisational experts and solo episodes with tips to help you simplify your life and prioritise your health.
Hi there, hope you're having a lovely day so far. Well, life has no doubt been much more stressful than normal. And prior to COVID-19, we all know and have experienced what it's like to go through an emotionally tough time. It actually takes its toll on us mentally, physically, and if you believe in all the woo-woo stuff, spiritually as well. Now, as a question, when you previously had gone through a tough time in your life, did you apply some form of a coping strategy? That being something that actually makes you feel better than before you started it. Not a lot of us actually do this, and the reason being that when we're actually going through some of these tough times, we just can't see the forest for the trees. And our stress really clouds our thoughts, makes them quite foggy, and we just don't think clearly. And it's during these tough times that we actually need an outside perspective to help guide our way through and just get us to the other side. And lucky for us today, our special guest is going to do just that. And today we're here to talk about positive changes that you can make to help maintain your health and well-being with our special guest, Narelle King. Now, Narelle will share some tips for anyone looking for some support or someone just wanting to make some simple changes to their new stay-at-home lifestyle. Now, what we're going to talk about today, these are just ideas and they may just open the door as a new way of thinking for you, as a new option, and maybe something that you possibly hadn't considered before. Now, Narelle King is a yin and nidra yoga instructor and wellness coach for Simply Happy. Now, she works with working mums who are always on the go and struggle with a constant juggle of work and family commitments that leave them exhausted and taking a toll on their health. And if that's listening, for you listening at the moment and you're going, that sounds like me, well, this chat is definitely for you. Narelle, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for that beautiful welcome as well.
Well, we're really grateful for your time. We know you're a busy lady as well. Now, so much to talk about, and I just don't even know where to start because this is something I'm really passionate about, and I just want to get all the information out as much as possible, as fast as possible. Now, I guess for a lot of people listening, they may start to get that feeling that this COVID-19 thing is not going away, and it's not going away very quickly, and it's going to be around for a little while longer, and that we may need to continually or at least adjust our lives until they actually announce that they have found a vaccine. Because even if we are going to be able to get out and about a little bit more these days, it's still going to be around. So because of this, I think a lot of people are starting to really mentally suffer at the moment, and in saying that, they're probably holding in a lot more of their feelings and actually not admitting maybe to even themselves how they're feeling. The stress is coming out in other ways, and it's a little bit like being in a tunnel, isn't it, and not knowing where the end of the tunnel is and where the light is. So I'd love to know initially what your thoughts are on this.
Well, it's the unpredictability that is really overwhelming for people. Like, our brains like predictability and routines, and then to have that taken away from us, it gives us that feeling of overwhelm, anxiety that we're not used to. And so it's a way of trying to find some routines in our life that we can then cope and manage and not have that predictability back in our lives again.
Yeah. It's just having some form of certainty maybe in our lives that we actually know.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And to help us cope, it's been said by many experts that we need to make some minor adjustments to our lives to apply a coping strategy that works for our mind and body and spirit to basically help parents prevent burnout at the moment. So I'd love to know from your perspective, if someone is about to approach burnout, what are the red flags that we would typically see and feel?
So I know for myself, week four of learning at home, definitely for myself 4 weeks ago at the start, I could see myself. It was the tears came, the losing my patience with my children and realising I need some help. So before that, my husband had been just working his normal work job, still within the house, but he's doing the same hours. And it was like him stepping back and just saying, I need some help here. I can't cope juggling a job as well as a business, as well as 2 children and learning at home. So he's actually doing 2 days so that I can still do my job. I'm a teacher as well as my business as well. So that's definitely helped by, the red flag though for me was just the tears and definitely the meltdowns. So we all have our meltdowns just like kids. It just might take us as parents to get to that a lot longer, and we keep putting sort of other strategy mechanisms in place, maybe not the most positive things. But eventually, our body can't cope and we will sort of melt down ourselves, just like our children do. Yeah. So that to me is a red flag that there is, that we need some help and some other strategies to help us cope.
And just being honest with how we're actually feeling at the time, as opposed to just constantly sweeping it under the carpet and actually going, I'm actually feeling this. Yeah.
Yeah, numbing it with other ways, but dealing with it, accepting, okay, I'm not coping and I want some help and I need some other way to cope at the moment.
And I guess everyone has varying and different levels of struggles and issues that they're dealing with, and everyone is dealing with stuff differently, of course. So what advice do you personally have for anyone that maybe has identified, okay, I've got these red flags, or I'm honestly just not coping at the moment, but where do I start? What's your advice?
So, like going for myself, it was like putting that routine of exercise. I find exercise for me is such a great, powerful way of clearing my head, having that endorphin release and just feeling happy at the start of the day. So definitely because obviously my routine of my normal exercise had been sort of taken away from me. So it was incorporating that back into my life again in a different form. Doing a gym sessions as well as walking. So I feel like our dog is getting more walks than she normally would. She's like everyone's coping mechanism at the moment. I'll take the dog for a walk, even though it's like she actually went for one this morning. So lots of walking, and then of course yin yoga as well as actually I've been experimenting with a little bit of kundalini yoga as well, which has been great. So it's sort of focuses on breath work, which I found to be an amazing strategy and something I probably wouldn't have tried previous because life was so busy. So it's been really nice to try something a little bit different as well.
Well, in saying that, like you're a really big advocate for healthy natural therapies, as you just mentioned, the different types of yoga that you're into and that you teach as well. So obviously a focus on natural therapies over unhealthy ones that are more of a quick fix, pick-me-up type of solution. And as you said before, trying to numb the pain and that sort of stuff. So, in your opinion, what's your best solutions for someone wanting to make a wellness change to their lives, and what is realistic to achieve during this time for someone that is a bit of a newbie, and this is a bit of a pivot in their change in their life? What's realistic for them to be achieving?
So definitely in the morning, it's like trying to find some form of routine, starting a morning routine for yourself. So, this could be a parent who's a single parent and at home dealing with children by themselves. So it would be putting some time aside, possibly before the children get up, and doing something for yourself, whether it's sitting out in the back garden with a cup of tea and just looking around and taking in a moment for yourself, or maybe it's movement and doing something online, watching some sort of gym type workout, or it might be a yoga session, depends on the time. Or maybe it's even just putting on some music and listening to some music. Just something that's reading a book, something to give you some time for yourself, to prioritize yourself. Because, as the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. And
Love
so if we're topping us, I know, as much as everyone says, the same, last rolls their eyes. But really, how can you give to those around you and be patient all day long if you haven't filled your cup? So for me, it definitely has to be in the morning, first thing in the morning. And maybe by the end of the day, it might need topping up. Definitely more so than I did, previous to COVID-19. Yeah.
So for someone that maybe hasn't applied those sort of techniques, how would you communicate what the rewards and benefits are of actually making that change and ensuring that you're actually giving that energy to yourself first before you worry about the rest of the family?
Well, there's a couple of benefits, because I know myself, previous to a wellness coach, I didn't do this, and I've seen now my children even mimic me and say, I'm just having some time for myself. So it's great role modeling for kids as well. Another technique is actually anchoring it to a habit you already do. So if, we all brush our teeth in the morning, maybe it's unplugging your phone from the charger, and it's putting that new habit to that habit you're already doing. So it could be whatever it is, it's something that it's going to fill your cup, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's something I really, really enjoyed doing. So just looking back at things that you've enjoyed doing over your life and finding just one of those things that you could do in 5 to 10 minutes, and, anchor it to a habit that you already do.
Now, you're a busy mum of 2 children, and one was diagnosed with autism just 2 years ago. And it's been said that you came to an understanding of the importance of rest and making sure that your cup is full, as you said before, and that with the focus of being able to continually be your best for your son and for the rest of the family. So can you tell us a little bit more about this, and how, since you've come to this realization, that it's actually made a positive shift in your life?
Definitely. So before my son's diagnosis, I was, running around, juggling all the balls and trying not to let any of them drop. And life just had to slow down. I couldn't keep up that same pace. And to be able to support him, I really needed to prioritize rest. And for me to be able to be patient, calm, and to be able to listen to him and listen to his needs, I needed to really stop and really tune into myself, and rest was something I needed. So I have practiced yoga for over 20 years, but it was the sort of yang style, flow style fast, and that's what I thought I needed. But, I'm a PE teacher, trained PE teacher as well. So I knew the benefits of exercise, but actually it wasn't the exercise I needed more of. It's actually the time and rest. So my practice actually changed to a more restorative practice. And that's when I started doing nidra, which is a sleep form of meditation, and yin yoga. And that's holding the poses for a longer period of time. And there's no right or wrong way of doing it. And I fell in love with both of them from the benefits I got from the practice. So then from running retreats with busy mums, I was having instructors come in and do the yoga for me. So like it's sort of last year, it was like, well, why am I not doing this to myself? I'm a PE teacher, I'm a coach. It really made sense. So I did my teacher training in yin and nidra yoga last year, and now actually teach it myself, teach the class, as well as then on my retreat last year, I actually did the sessions myself. So that's sort of how I came around to yin and nidra yoga, and then becoming an instructor myself.
Yeah. And in saying that, I mean, everyone's got different coping strategies that works for them. And alluding what you said before about the numbing effect, I think the alcohol consumption in this country, I heard it in a report the other day on TV, that is at an all-time high. But of course, and everyone's been there at the moment. It's just that whole breakup thing that they say that we're going through, wanting to, eat more sort of fast foods and all those types of things. And it's almost like we've had a bit of a breakup with the way that life used to be before before COVID-19, and alcohol consumption is sort of, is that numbing effect that everyone you were talking about before. But of course, this particular thing is very unhealthy, and it's not sustainable for the long term. So if a parent listening hasn't yet, I guess, found what is their healthy coping strategy yet, in your opinion, why is it so important that they actually make the time to discover what that is for them during this time?
So, I mean, yeah, we all need that comfort at the moment, and whether it's, chocolate for me or it's alcohol, but it's trying to find maybe a more sustainable, that actually when we come out of COVID-19, you can continue to use that practice within your lifestyle would be, a great reason for looking for just that one thing. There's so many different things, and the same, like, people had suggested meditation years ago to me, and it took me, maybe 2 years to find the right form of meditation for me, which was nidra yoga. Like the slogan was, you gain 2 hours of equivalent of 2 hours rest for your body from just 20 minutes practice.
And that sounds
that was a selling point.
Give it 20, get 2 hours back.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I actually felt that to me was like, I was like, wow, actually I do feel like I've got 2 hours sleep, and I was addicted from that moment. And it's actually even 20 minutes, whereas I was trying to do 5-minute meditations, and I was like, this is just not for me. And I'm actually doing a longer meditation and finding it's more of a benefit than just the 5-minute meditation was, and it's actually requiring more time. But it is lying down when I go to bed, and it's putting the headphones in, and sometimes you fall asleep, especially at the start when you first start practicing. But over time, it's funny because you go into a sleep state. So at the very end, whoever's guiding it will then say, and you come back into the room, and you're like, oh, wow, where have I been? I actually feel like, because it's amazing how it actually, because it accesses your subconscious mind into your sleep state, into one of your sleep states. So, yeah, it's quite powerful and straight away. So I suppose, it's like finding that one thing that's going to, fill your cup, as well as be that coping mechanism for you. So, there's so many different things that you could use, but it's fine. I really think it's going back to things that you enjoyed before children, really. For me, I've always loved yoga. So it was going back to that, but just finding a different form that was more restorative and actually, giving me that benefit that I needed, rather than the yang benefit, which I didn't need in my life anymore.
So nidra yoga, as you mentioned before, is actually, can you just tell us a little bit more about it? How is it different to other forms of yoga?
So it's actually it's the end of yoga. So the traditional part of yoga is nidra yoga, is the sleep part, which is the end, and the shavasana, they call it now. And it's shortened down to sort of 5 minutes because we have such a busy lifestyle, and they pretty much do it as a silence, and then you walk out. Whereas traditionally in India, that nidra can be up to sort of 45 minutes, and it's a guided meditation. So they go through different aspects of a meditation, and it's like a body scan, which sometimes you might get with your shavasana at the end, and then they'll take you through the consciousness of maybe it's light and heavy or hot and cold, and then bring you back into the room. And so because it takes you into a sleep state, it's giving you so many different benefits and that equivalent rest to 2 hours sleep for your body. So it's actually it's actually eye rest as well. So they use it in hospitals. It's been adapted slightly in hospital settings as well. And there is the eye rest has lots of research around it. So it's a research-based yoga practice as well.
So does this approach, I guess, support more of your immune system, and it sort of helps sort of calm the nervous system a little bit more, would you say?
Completely. So it actually works on the nervous system, calming that, reducing our stress hormones, increasing cortisol into your serotonin, into your body, and taking away the cortisol. And so mood, sleep. It's also really great for autoimmune diseases because it regulates your core body temperature and allergies as well. And especially the way that we live at the moment, our core body temperatures are quite high from our lifestyle, as well as like the foods that we eat can also generate heat in our body. So this helps to sort of regulate that. So there's so many different benefits.
So I, when I was 16, was diagnosed with MS. I don't have it anymore because I've very politely told it to go away and it hasn't come back. But every time I hear the word autoimmune, my ears prick up, of course. So can you tell us a little bit more? That's to do more this form of yoga in supporting the nervous system. Tell us, or can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So it's it regulates your stress, your rest and activity cycle as well. So one of the things at the moment is, our day and night, we're still at nighttime with lights and flashing lights, and our bodies are out of sync of their natural cycle. And the most restorative part of the day is between 10 and 2 for our body to actually recuperate itself and rest and let all of the whole organs regenerate themselves. And we're not allowing that. And also we're out of sync because of the lights, our lights just even in our cities as well as just within our homes. So we've sort of lost that natural rhythm. So this actually helps to bring back that natural rhythm into your body as well. It's, and then along the same lines as the core body temperature by also, our lifestyle with the heat that we have generated within our bodies, it helps to regulate that. So it helps to bring it back to where it needs to be by just allowing your body, your nervous system to rest and relax and, restore itself, because it's taking you into that sleep state. So you're getting that sleep state before you're actually even asleep as well.
So what changes did you personally start to notice when you started taking the classes then?
So mine was overthinking. So especially when my son was going through his diagnosis, I was always overthinking, going, okay, what can I do next? I'm an action taker. So I'm not the type of person who sit there and then just worry about it but not do anything. I probably was like, worry about, okay, what am I going to do next? And researching way too many things. So it helped to allow my brain to stop at night and actually sleep. So I wasn't getting enough sleep because I was always thinking, worrying about what I need to do, what I can do next to support him. So that was definitely the first thing, is my sleep is a lot better. And then because of I'm getting a better sleep, my mood and the way that I'm with my children is definitely a lot calmer, more patience. That's definitely something I've noticed the most, is definitely patient with them. And what else would I say? Probably memory as well, and appetite, because I was living in stress mode and always on the go. So when we're living in stress mode, you can have that green smoothie in the morning, but if you're living on that stress, that your body's not actually, the digestive system's not working how it should be. So therefore that green smoothie you maybe drank is actually not even being digested properly and the nutrients taken out. So I've definitely found that my appetite came back, and I was already eating well, but I was actually probably absorbing the nutrients. So definitely my immune system, don't get sick like I did. I was having a few health issues before his diagnosis as well. So those have definitely cleared up, and I think it's a lot of it's come down to definitely nidra yoga.
Okay, well, we'll definitely want to learn more about this. Now, we published your article, Easy Ways to Exercise During Isolation with Limited Time and Equipment. So for someone who hasn't read the article, can you give us a little bit of an overview about it and just tell us what inspired you to write it?
So it was about the yin, being able to use yin yoga, which again, like I said before, is about restorative part of yoga. So we have our flow states, and then this one is really quiet, really restorative, and really works on our rest. Again, our nervous system, so taking away that stress, and it actually helps to heal your body if you have been living in constant stress mode like I was. So I wrote the article in relation to yin because I was also, for myself, I was taking physical classes here in Geelong, and now I've moved my practice to online and being able to help the parents and the mums and some older people that I was also working with at a lifestyle centre. giving them that access so they could do this online as well. So it just encouraged me to write the article so that I could show that there's lots of different ways that you can exercise now that we're in self-isolation. And one of those really great ways, I think, is yin yoga. I've really see it as a really beneficial form of exercise, especially while we're at the moment overthinking, everything's changed. There's so much uncertainty and we're living in that stress mode. Even though it's not the same stress, it's still a stress mode on our body. Even though it's not like running around, we're still the worry. The worry, triggers that stress response. It's a bit like an account. So you see our stress is like the withdrawal from your bank account, and things like nidra or yin yoga is like the deposit. So we need these deposits put back. Isn't it beautiful? I heard it a couple of years ago and I love referring back to it. Those deposits is putting it back into your nervous system, so that you can continue to cope. So I suppose that's like that way of looking at the filling your cup is another way. Is the stress is the withdrawal of a bank account, and we need something to put back in. Otherwise, we're in deficit, and we can't live like that, can we?
So, and you mentioned before about the online program which you're running. Why do you think it's accountability with these sort of programs is so important? Irrespective of if it's just during now in this time or in general, I guess when someone's sort of starting something new, and especially when it is remote, which is great, which is brilliant, and gives the ability for far more people, right throughout the country and nationally to be able to have access to the program. But why do you think accountability is so important?
Definitely. Like the people who come to my actual regular classes, like they pay for a term to come because they love that accountability, knowing that I've paid for it, therefore I'm putting myself first. I have that set time. I have that set, that routine that they're working towards building. So having that there every week really, really helps them to set up that new routine. So as few of them have said, it's been really, really difficult to find that consistent time. Like it is a live session that I do tonight, but it's recorded so they can access it anytime. So it's trying to establish that new routine in their lives. But giving them that access anytime 24/7 has been great as well, because they've still got that accountability that there's someone and they can reach out. Well, I have a Facebook community, which is great because they might have had a tough week, and it's great to be able to say, hey, I've had a tough week. I've even gone as far as saying, here's the direct link to the YouTube video, so you don't even have to go online and find it. It's just straight into their messenger. So just being able to make it easy for people to access as well, I think is really important at the moment, because people have so much, parents in particular who are juggling work, kids and learning at home, already have enough going on, as well as, the school emails and everything. So to make things as easy as possible for people, I think is great, as well as, just having that support for them to be able to build in those new routines.
And mindfulness is a phrase and a word that we hear so much, but can you tell us a little bit more how it can help us reduce stress and just help support our immune system?
Yeah, so mindfulness is like being in the moment, and I'm sure everyone can relate to that time when you've driven your car and you've got to work and you're like, oh my goodness, I kind of remember how I got here. So it's actually just being present in the moment when you're doing something. So it could be even making dinner, and I've heard so many people talk about online at the moment through podcasts about how they feel that they're being so much more mindful at the moment with their lives, with their children. They're listening to their children, they're cooking dinner together, they're sharing moments together, and just being in that flow state. So not thinking about when we have to be at the next thing,
and
or
running
time.
from one place to another. Having to
so just being in the moment and enjoying it for what it is, rather than thinking about the future or thinking about the past. Definitely, it's probably a perfect time to us to be adapting that whole new way of thinking of mindfulness. And for me, like I see working in several different schools, I also see how children have adapted it, and that it's like part of their lives within schools. Schools do it every day, mindfulness, when they come in after lunch. So it's sort of like us taking a leaf out of our own children's way of life and bringing it into the home, really. So definitely tapping into our kids who who know, you could ask them. I'm sure they can find a YouTube video right now of a mindfulness music that they really enjoy or they listen to at school. So yeah, using our kids, I think, is real key.
And what would be, I guess, your top 3 ideas for people to create more mindful routines in their day-to-day life then?
Definitely, like going on like I said at the start, about habit. So finding a habit that you already do and being mindful around it, or connecting breath to it. So breath is really, really important. It's a really powerful tool that we all have, and we forget that we have our breath will actually calm our nervous system straight away. So you can't worry while you're focusing on your breath. So maybe while you're brushing your teeth, as soon as you've finished brushing your teeth, it's taking those 3 deep breaths, and you've done that one part of mindfulness, maybe brushing the teeth in a mindful way, and then actually doing the 3 breaths at the end. The second way would be tuning into sort of your senses. So really getting in touch, when you eat that chocolate or you have that glass of wine, really enjoy it and savor the taste of it. Then you're getting a little bit of both, aren't you? You're getting that moment at the end of the week that you might be craving it, but you're doing it in a mindful way. So you could be using, both of those benefits. So we're not saying get rid of all of the old habits, but maybe integrating some of these other ones as well. I'm all about trying to make things not adding extra things to your workload. So finding ways that will incorporate what you've already got within busy mums that I work with when I'm coaching. The third way would be looking at life like with curious eyes, like children do.
Yes.
So yeah, like when you're going for a walk, and I find right now, like when we go for a walk in the middle of the day just to get out, because my son would actually like to just stay at home. He's actually a homebody, but he likes us to entertain him the whole time. So we all just need the space to get out. So it's getting out. And I just find that there's people out in their front yards at the moment in nearly every second house. And so it's being able to stop and have a bit of a chat to neighbours. So just being mindful while you're actually walking, rather than going on the walk and just trying to get it done in the 10 minutes, but actually taking in some of the surroundings, the people who are in their front yard, or the flowers that have come out in someone's yard at the moment. Or like my kids today even said, did you see all the trees have started to turn yellow, the leaves? So yeah, that'd be my 3 tips for integrating mindfulness into your life without adding something else to your to-do list, really.
And this is the thing, it was almost like, life was in 5th or 6th gear leading up to COVID. The year was getting started and we're really starting to sort of be on our way with busyness and life, getting the kids starting with their hobbies and everything else, and now it's almost like bringing it back to first or second or
Definitely.
third year, just depending. And it's almost like you're talking about going for walks and those types of things. There's been so many times in the last few weeks I've almost felt like, because the pace is obviously slower and there's not as many cars on the road, and a lot of people have got open fireplaces and things like that in their house, and that beautiful smell of smoke and everything else, and it's just like I feel like I'm on holidays, which we're not, but it's that beautiful pace of life where it's just that you can just breathe, and it's about maybe just, and I'm asking you as the expert, but is it about taking those moments and actually really savoring them, as opposed to just living them and not really sort of taking notice of what it is, taking note of what that feeling is and what that smell is and those types of things. Is that what you're saying with the mindfulness?
Yeah, definitely it is. And just being in the moment, because when we're worrying about the future or worrying about the past, that's when we put the stress on our nervous system. So if we can just be more present, and I definitely agree, like the walking around and the fires, I've noticed my kids are always, smells like someone else is having like a camping fire tonight. So yeah, we've noticed that in our area for sure.
Yeah. And so going back to what you were talking about with nidra, yin and nidra yoga, could you just tell us a little bit more of what the benefits are of sort of practicing that on a regular basis? You touched on it earlier on, but I'd love to know a little bit more about that, and why should people, I guess, consider sort of at least trialing it?
Yeah. So with yin yoga, it's relaxing into the shapes for a longer period of time, and like sort of between 3 and 5 minutes. And it focuses on the qi energy in our meridian pathways. So it is based on Chinese medicine, and we hold lots of emotions in our bodies, And by opening up these pathways, we actually release those emotions. And so it actually works with the different pathways, but different. There's like a yin body part and a yang body part, and they work in partners during seasons of the year as well. So we're in autumn at the moment, going into winter, we're focusing on our kidneys and our bladder, and so they are around fear. Whereas sadness and grief. And right now in autumn, we're focusing on fear. So fear around change maybe as well could be something. So by holding these shapes and then going into a recoil after, we actually help to release those emotions that we might be holding on to in our body, as well as just the benefits of relaxation and the stretching of the different body parts and muscles and tendons, and the fascia is what they focus on in yin. And then with nidra, so I sort of do both together, but then I also do some of my classes as just nidra classes for people who don't like yoga. Some of them have come around and are like, now I think I could do both. But it's definitely around slowing down your mind, allowing your body to rest, allowing your nervous system to, regulate itself and actually heal. So if you have been living in stress mode, it does help to heal your nervous system. And then around the autoimmune diseases, helping them to regulate the core body temperature as well, that's related to autoimmune diseases. And what else is there? Around mood. So definitely improves mood, sleep, gut health as well is really important. And I mean, like people, this is another thing that sort of catches people, is when I talk about, how can you try to lose weight if you're constantly on the go and your body is in stress mode? You need to actually relax to allow your body to be able to then, because again, it's not functioning at its best, is it? And if we don't have enough rest, sleep is, I suppose I've become more of a sleep and rest expert, is what, that I'm more passionate about, sharing with people of how important it really is. And it really is fundamental to us, because as I say, contrary to what we say, is rest is actually productive time. So for us to be able to be so productive, we really need to rest. And I know myself, if I've worked late into the night, the next day I'm definitely nowhere near as productive if I had have stopped earlier and got that rest and then just got up maybe a bit earlier instead. Yeah.
Well, you've shared some really, really key points today. And as we mentioned at the start of it, there's going to be a lot that maybe is quite new for a lot of listeners and viewers to consider. So if you were to summarize, I guess, your key points and key messages about, trialing something new to be able to adapt a better wellness coping strategy at the moment, I guess, what are your key messages?
So probably my first one would be attach one of these new habits to a habit you already do. They call it habit stacking rather than trying to create a brand new habit. The other thing would be looking at finding some time for yourself to do just one thing to prioritize yourself. Like we said before about the deposit, make sure that you're as well as withdrawing, but actually depositing things into yourself, the money, like the money account analogy.
Love that.
And then rest. Yeah, isn't it great? Prioritizing rest. And rest really is that productive time. Actually helps us to be more productive, even though we don't think it is. It actually is. And our bodies will benefit greatly, mind, body, and spirit as well.
Well, I know I've personally greatly benefited from this chat today, and it's something that I want to look into and I guess sort of bring into my daily life. So if parents have got more questions for you and or want to, I guess, even join your online program or just have any questions or anything like that, whereabouts can they find you?
Sure. So simplyhappy.com.au is my website, or otherwise on social media. So I have Facebook is Simply Happy Wellness Coaching, and the same for Instagram. And I love being on Instagram, but to be honest, the mums that I work with are all on Facebook. So I use both. And I'd love it. I do have some free videos of yin yoga shapes, so people can actually be introduced to it rather than going straight into a sequence and expecting to be able to do it. So it's giving them a slow introduction to the shapes and then a sequence, and as well as that, a free nidra recording as well, so they can experience the benefits of that.
Yep. And my last question is, does someone have needed to actually done yoga before to, I guess, to be able to get into nidra in yoga, or is it fine for an absolute beginner?
Absolute beginner, and you do not need any yoga experience. And I think that's why I love it so much, is because the people I work with don't necessarily at all are not a yoga type of person. So it's been great to be able to share this with people who are like, oh, actually this is, you don't need to don't have to have any experience. And I also work with people who are from 50 to 70 as well, and they get great benefits. And it's really easy to modify some of the yin poses to be sitting in a chair as well, which is great. But they've all fell in love with nidra yoga and are really disappointed and can't wait till I come back to be able to do that with them as well. They have the recording, but it's not the same as being in a room and someone actually helping you go to sleep into that rest state
as well. Well, look, we'll have all those links in the show notes and the introduction paragraph. Thank you so much for your time today, and really can't wait to chat with you again soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. If you'd like to reduce your stress, improve your mood, and support your immune system, then join me for an introduction to yin and nidra yoga. Over 5 short 10-minute online lessons, you'll start to feel calmer and more rested. Head to simplyhappy.com.au in the resources section and start today.